Hello everyone, I'm Burfy1322 and welcome to the Stewards room, where we'll be taking a look at racing incidents submitted by you guys and trying to make a determination on who, if anyone, was at fault. There's a link in the description to submit your own clips, and feel free to check out the playlist link for more of these videos, specifically the first, which acts as a scene setter. Also, keep an eye out for cards popping up on screen at the start of each segment where you can vote on who you thought was at fault for each incident. Okay, so this episode is all about giving space and do people get enough space, when you can give space, when you don't have to give space, things like that. We've covered it kind of before, but these clips all share that very similar trait. So vote in the top right. Who was at fault for this one? Was it light blue car? Was it dark blue car? Or was it just a racing incident? You guys can vote and then I'll give my thoughts afterwards. So when it comes to this one is, again, pretty straightforward, because the light car at this point is duty bound to not move into the space occupied by the dark blue car. And we're going to look at that on the Rules of Racing document. So, as you can see here from the sporting regulations in Formula 1 and racing the FIA, any driver defending his position on a straight and before any braking area may use the full width of the track during his first move, provided no significant portion of the car attempting to pass is alongside his. And for the avoidance of any doubt, if any part of the front wing of the car attempting to pass is alongside the rear wheel of the car in front, this will deem to be a significant portion. So, basically what that means is, if any part of a car is alongside your car, you can't just turn in and, on a straight of course, you can't just turn in and take up the space occupied by that car. And as you can clearly see at this point, there's just about enough space for both of them, and the blue car has, he's more than half a car length alongside, the dark blue car is more than half a car length alongside the light blue car. So really the light blue car at this point should be seeing that he's there and kind of, veering off to the left a little bit, realising that he's going to give up the position and give a little bit more space and live to fight another day. But obviously that's not what happens. Because basically what happens... Whoops. Basically what happens, if I actually slow it down properly this time and not get mixed up with what I'm doing, is he just continues to come to the right. So he's to the right, but at this point, even there, he should be now not moving any more to the right. At this point, there's a little bit of the dark blue car alongside the light blue car. At this point, the light blue car is not allowed and not entitled to move more to the right. But obviously, as you can see, that's exactly what he does. He just continues to move to the right and essentially just crowds the car out of room. There's nowhere for the dark blue car to go. He ends up going off the track and spinning around. And that's entirely on the light blue car for not giving the required space that he should have done in that situation. And that would be, for me, a complete clear-cut penalty for the light blue car. And it seems completely deliberate to just continue drifting over to the right like that when really he shouldn't be. You can, if you want, you can make an argument that the dark blue car was going to a closing gap, but even at this point, light blue car should have been leaving space. That you can't just continue to make that gap smaller and smaller. So yeah. That would be me putting fault at the light blue car for that one. But if you think differently, you can feel free to let me know down in the comments. So, GTA clip in a similar fashion, but very different circumstances. We've got the Alpha, the black, we'll say black and white. Black Alpha and white Revolta, that is. But we'll just call them black and white for sake of, easiness. Was this the black car's fault? Was this the white car's fault? Or was this just a racing incident? You guys vote on the poll in the top right. And then we'll see what you guys think after I've given my thoughts. And like I always say, if there is a difference in opinion, you've changed your mind, feel free to let me know in the comments as well. But this one is a little bit different from the last one, because the black car isn't deviating from his line. At this point, he's straight. He's keeping his line straight, and he's entitled to do that. He's entitled, because he's ahead, to, as long as he's not drifting more this way, because, there is a tiny, tiny portion that the white car is alongside, but even so, it's pretty minimal. But it's obvious that the white car has a bit of overspeed, so he's going to be coming into this space here. Now, as long as the black car doesn't go into this space, he's totally fine to continue going straight, which is what, to be fair, he does. But then what happens is that the white car, whether he's, kind of just misjudging it or slightly out of control with the speed of the car or something, the white car essentially drives into the rear of the black car, gives him a little tap, and then obviously with the crash enhancer script and physics of GTA, that turns into a full-blown accident. But I think on any kind of racing game, this kind of hit on the right rear of the car would cause a spin. And for me, that's quite clearly the fault of the white car. That would be me giving a penalty to the white car unless he waited. If he waited, then and gave the position back, then that's fair enough. But yeah, the Revolta has the white car has the overspeed, but the black car isn't just disappearing, and you can't just turn into someone to bully them out of the way. It might have just been a little bit of a misjudgment, but even at this point, what you'll see is that the black car does take a little bit of avoiding action, sort of maybe a twitch reaction to avoid contact, and moves to the left a little bit as well. But the white car just keeps coming and coming, and he's the one who initiates the contact. You can see the black car tries to avoid it even at the last minute, but it's the white car that initiates the contact. It's the white car that crashes into the black car. And yeah, white car is 100% at fault for that. I don't see anything that the black car did that was wrong in that situation. He kept it straight. He even, there was plenty of space for the white car to go into as well. But it didn't happen, and the white car just basically took him out. So next up, interesting clip. I'll try to show it from the multiple perspectives that we've got here. At least one from the perspective that we're riding with, and then one from the other car's perspective. Would you give a penalty, or would you deem anyone at fault for this? Black car or red car? There will be a poll in the top right hand corner of the screen. It'll pop up. Was the black car at fault for this? Would you give them a penalty? Was the red car at fault, or was it just a racing incident? Was it just one of those things that happens, and you wouldn't be doing anything? You wouldn't take any action on this? Let me know on the poll. So this is certainly rough. It's not nice of an overtake, and I feel like everything would have been fine if it wasn't for this first hit. He comes in and hits the back end of the car, which, I don't know why he's even that close to the car he's trying to overtake. He gets it stopped, and, from after the contact, it's not as if he's doing a crazy dive bomb where he didn't get the car stopped in time for the corner and he used the other car to stop him. But the fact that he misjudged it to the point of hitting the other car on the entry to the corner, there was plenty of space. We're talking about giving space. The red car is not choosing to be on the inside of the track to defend this corner, so he's opening up all of this space to be overtaken with. And the black car chooses not to use it, and instead basically seems to aim for the back of the red car instead of using all the space that's available. And that obviously, you can't just make contact with another car and bounce them out of the way. If he'd got it done, if he'd been a few centimeters to the left and got it done cleanly, then fair enough. It would be a good overtake. But the fact that he makes contact with the other car has to take action to avoid spinning around in difficult wet conditions. I don't think it was that bad of an overtake from the perspective of, he was later on the brakes, but not so late that it was a crazy dive bomb or anything like that. But you also can't make contact. It was just a misjudgment, and I would be saying that the black car was at fault for this. Would I give a penalty afterwards for the black car? That's difficult, because I feel like this overtake was getting done anyway. But with all things considered, I could understand as nobody has any major incident, has any major, if the red car had been taken out completely and gone off the track, then absolutely penalty for the black car. Or if anything else had happened that had caused anyone else to, have an issue, black car would 100% be getting a penalty, but nothing really major happened. So I would have to say I would probably give maybe like a warning or something like that. In Formula 1 they have the whole license and you get penalty points on your license. I would probably be giving something like that afterwards, but as it turns into the actual race result, I don't think I could really give a penalty for this, because nothing really happened. I would just have to say it's a racing incident, but that's not great driving, frankly, and that needs to be cleaned up. But as far as the race goes, I would probably just put this to a racing incident myself. So that's how I would have voted in the poll. So back to GTA for another one about giving space. You can vote. Like I said, poll is always going to pop up in the top right hand corner. Was this grey car's fault? Was it dark grey car's fault or light grey car's fault? We can see that the light grey car does wait. But yeah, who was at fault for this crash? Vote in the poll, and then I'll give my thoughts. Having said that, this isn't really the most difficult one, because giving space is one thing, but you can't give space if you don't, when someone comes out of nowhere, basically. And at this point, the dark grey car doesn't need to give any more space. Even, if you imagine that this was even in first person, if it was a proper racing game or a proper racing in real life racing situation, we have the benefit of being in third person and we can see all of this area of the track that if you're in first person, you can probably only really see, this area of the track. So when it comes to giving space on the inside, he doesn't know that the light grey car is there and is coming, so he's just taking his normal racing line for the corner. And this line for an overtake is not the way you're going to get an overtake done. If anything, I would also say that this is much too quick of a corner to go for an overtake anyway, but this is the line that cars should be on. This is very much not. The angle that they hit at, for me, this is just 100% a complete dive bomb by the light grey car. And he really has no rights being there or going for an overtake like that. And obviously he does wait, so he sees the mistake and realizes, I shouldn't have really gone for that. I've taken someone out. Okay, I'll wait. He's not halfway alongside or anything like that. And even if he was, I guess you could argue that he is just about halfway alongside, but the angle that he's coming at and the speed that he's coming at is a complete dive bomb in a ridiculous angle and overtake attempt that that is 100% on the fault of the light grey car for this incident occurring. If the light grey car hadn't gone for that crazy angle and crazy move, the crash wouldn't have happened. And I don't think there was anything that the dark grey car could have done to avoid that, because you could never really expect someone coming in at such an angle. If the light grey car was in this area, or say here, if his front end was here and we could see it, and he just gradually outbrakes him going into the corner, fair enough. The dark grey car should be giving space, but not coming from this angle, this close to the wall, where you just can't see someone coming, there's no reason for the dark grey car at this point until it's basically too late, because he does turn left, as you can see, to try to avoid it. There's no way that the dark grey car can do anything other than that. So 100% the fault of the light grey car for the contact, and that's how I would have voted in the poll. So we got one more clip, and the reason I've included a fifth clip is just because it is going to be so easy to decide. But one final poll for you guys to vote on. Who was at fault for this? Was the orange car at fault? Was the pink purple car at fault? Was enough space given by anybody? What was the deal? Was it just a racing incident? Let me know your thoughts. Vote on the poll in the top right hand corner of the screen. Now, the reason that this one is so easy and quick to do is because nothing happens. The title of this video is "Was I Given Enough Space?" But I mean, there was no space needed to be given, because the pink car basically just does it all himself. So obviously the orange car is up the inside, and he's not fully up the inside, but he's enough up the inside to be deserving of some space, and he gets it. The pink car, doesn't completely go to the apex of the corner, and they're racing side by side pretty well. But then obviously what happens, I think, is that the pink car just takes a little bit too much speed through the corner, trying to obviously keep ahead of the orange car. And there's still a bit of space here. It's not as if the orange car is coming at higher speed and running him out of road. There's still a bit of space, and they're racing cleanly side by side, but the pink car just takes a little bit too much speed in, gets his wheel off the road, and that ends up spinning him around. And that's all on himself. The pink car can't blame the orange car for not running him out of road or not giving him enough space, because I mean there's still space in between them. They're not side by side, there's no contact. The orange car isn't ahead just running him out of road. It's just the pink car misjudged it, took too much speed through the corner, and caused his own accident. So I guess you could argue that pink car is at fault for this, but nothing really happened. It was just, I would be voting racing incident for this one. Not that's why I put it at the end of this, because we're all about talking about giving space for this one. But there's never going to be a question of whether you were given enough space if you just ran yourself out of road. And it had nothing to do with the other driver. So yeah, let me know all your thoughts, obviously, for this clip and all the other clips down below in the comments if you thought differently to how I voted. And yeah, it's nice to it's a little bit refreshing in comparison to last week's episode to kind of change the way that I think about this series, and I seem to be able to get through clips a little easier when I'm just giving my thoughts rather than trying to pick apart everything with every little bit of the rule book, when really those rules are faulty themselves. So yeah, hopefully you guys are still enjoying this series. Obviously let me know what you think about the series, and if you want me to continue it, and especially in this way where I'm pretty much just looking through clips and then giving my thoughts and trying my best to determine fault. That's pretty much what this has all been about, but trying to get less bogged down in the specifics and the rules as they are set forth, using them more as a guide. So that's pretty much it for this episode. You can find in the video description all the info and links that you may need to submit your own clips, and if you'd like to support me, you can do so on Patreon by becoming a YouTube member or simply subscribing and liking the video. Thank you all so much for watching, I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.